In Revelation chapter 17, the author of Revelation saw Babylon the Great as a woman sitting on the scarlet beast. Babylon the Great is the great city that ruled over the kings of the earth. The scarlet beast has 7 heads and 10 horns. One of the 7 heads will rise from the bottomless pit and rule the world with the 10 horns. These 10 horns are 10 kings. The beast from the bottomless pit is the Antichrist. Together with the 10 kings, they will rule over the world temporarily and briefly before Christ's return. When the beast from the bottomless pit and the 10 kings begin to rule the world, they will destroy Babylon the Great. God is the one who put the thoughts in the hearts of the beast and the 10 kings to destroy Babylon the Great as her punishment. What will happen to Babylon the Great? First, God will destroy Babylon the Great through her partners. Revelation chapter 18 verse 1 to 2 announced the fall of Babylon the Great. This announcement was first made in Revelation chapter 14 verse 8. Fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great, she who made all nations drink the wine of the passions of her sexual immorality. Revelation chapter 18 and 19 give more details of the fall of Babylon the Great. In Revelation chapter 18 verse 1 to 2, the author saw a mighty angel coming down from heaven to announce the fall of Babylon the Great after the beast from the bottomless pit and the 10 kings destroy Babylon the Great in Revelation chapter 17 verse 15 to 18. Initially, Babylon the Great controlled the scarlet beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. She sat on the scarlet beast. This posture implies that she controlled the scarlet beast. One of the 7 heads of the scarlet beast will rise from the bottomless pit. This head is called the beast. For a short time, this beast will rule the world together with the 10 kings. During their brief reign, God will use them to destroy Babylon the Great. Why is God destroying Babylon the Great? God is judging Babylon the Great because she promotes spiritual unfaithfulness among the kings of the earth. In Revelation chapter 17 verse 1 to 6, when Babylon the Great promotes her spiritual unfaithfulness, she controls the scarlet beast and the kings of the earth. She loses control of the scarlet beast when one of the 7 heads rise from the bottomless pit to topple her. Thus, God destroys her through those to whom she promotes her spiritual unfaithfulness. This picture implies Babylon the Great influenced the political realm, but she is different from the political realm. The beast from the bottomless pit and the 10 kings are political leaders. When they destroy Babylon the Great, the other kings of the earth weep from a distance. These responses show that the great city is different from the political leaders that rule the nations and the world. Before God destroyed Babylon the Great, whom did God call out of the city? God called his people out of Babylon the Great. God spoke from heaven, calling his people to come out of Babylon the Great. This warning came before the beast from the bottomless pit and the 10 kings destroyed Babylon the Great. God called his people out of this great city so that they may not participate in the spiritual unfaithfulness of Babylon the Great. Her spiritual unfaithfulness lead her to commit many sins, such as drinking the blood of the saints. If God's people remain in the city, they will suffer with her. God will undoubtedly punish Babylon the Great. Although the text does not tell us how God's people continue to remain in Babylon the Great, despite the fact that she is drinking the blood of the saints, those who escape death probably live like fugitives in the shadows or compromise to survive. Now God's people must choose between staying in the city or leaving the great city before God judges her. What is God going to do to the great city? God will humble Babylon the Great. God has declared that he will pay her back double for her deeds. Based on how she treated others, God will treat her in the same way and double it. Since Babylon the Great glorified herself, God will shame her. Since Babylon the Great boasts that I sit as a queen, I am no widow, and mourning I shall never see, God will humble her based on her boast. God will punish her with all the plagues due to her in a single day. She will receive death, mourning, and famine together. God will burn her with fire through the beast and the 10 kings. God can and will do this because He is the Almighty God. Has God judged other godless cities before? God will judge Babylon the Great like other godless cities. Revelation chapter 18 verse 9 to 19 describes three groups of people who weep over the destruction of Babylon the Great. The first group is the political leaders of the world. These kings join her in committing spiritual unfaithfulness. They have benefited from her luxuries. These political leaders stand afar in fear and weep when they saw the beast and the 10 kings destroy Babylon the Great. They weep from afar because they fear that the same destruction can come upon their cities. The second group is the merchants of the world. These economic leaders weep because the great city no longer buy their goods. They also suffer financial loss when the beast and the 10 kings destroy the great city. They stand in fear when they see what happened to the great city. The third group is the ship masters and sailors, including those whose business are related to the sea. They have become wealthy by providing their services to the great city. They weep when they see the beast and the 10 kings turn the great city into a wasteland. They weep for the loss of business opportunities. The language behind the descriptions in Revelation chapter 18 verse 9 to 19 are taken from passages from the Old Testament that describe the destruction of ancient Babylon and Tyre. The author of Revelation uses these Old Testament passages to describe the destruction of Babylon the Great in his vision. For example, Jeremiah chapter 50 to 51 describes God's judgment on ancient Babylon. Jeremiah 51 verse 6 to 9 urged God's people to flee from the ancient city of Babylon. Revelation chapter 18 verse 4 to 8 uses the language of Jeremiah 51 to urge God's people to flee from the future Babylon the Great before God judges her. Isaiah chapter 13 and 14 also describe God's judgment on ancient Babylon. Isaiah chapter 13 verse 19 to 22 describe the condition of ancient Babylon after God overthrows it. Revelation chapter 18 verse 2 uses the language of Isaiah 13 verse 19 to 22 to describe the condition of Babylon the Great after God has destroyed her. Ezekiel chapter 26 to 28 describes God's judgment on the city of Tyre. The descriptions of the three groups of people that weep for Babylon the Great in Revelation chapter 18 verse 9 to 19 is taken from Ezekiel chapter 27. The author of Revelations has used these Old Testament passages and applied it to Rome in his days and to Babylon the Great yet to come. These Old Testament passages remind us that God will judge the ungodly cities of the world. In the future, God will judge Babylon the Great. Although we cannot identify Babylon the Great now, God will remember her deeds. Besides judging Babylon the Great for her spiritual unfaithfulness, what other reason will God judge her? God will judge Babylon the Great on behalf of God's people. In Revelation chapter 18 verse 9 to 19, the destruction of Babylon the Great stir up a response from the kings, merchants, and seafarers of the earth. In Revelation chapter 18 verse 20, the author of Revelation focused on the response of heaven and God's people. They rejoice over the fall of Babylon the Great. Revelation chapter 18 verse 21 to 23 describes the fall of Babylon the Great from another perspective. The fall of Babylon the Great is like a great millstone thrown violently into the sea. The great city will suddenly disappear from the world. All life's activities, such as music, arts, and marriage, will cease in this place. God will judge Babylon the Great because she has killed many people. Like many ungodly cities, Babylon the Great will kill people to achieve her goals of status, power, and glory. God will judge her for the lives that she has taken. In particular, God will judge her for killing his people. The blood of the prophets and saints refers to God's people. In Revelation chapter 17 verse 6, the author saw Babylon the Great drinking the blood of the saints. In judging Babylon the Great, God answered the prayers of all those who die for their faith in Revelation chapter 6 verse 9 to 11. In summary, God will judge Babylon the Great for her spiritual unfaithfulness and her evil deeds. God's instruments of judgment is the beast from the bottomless pit and the 10 kings. They will burn the great city. The remaining kings of the world, the merchants and the seafarers, will weep for Babylon the Great because they lost their riches and luxuries in the destructions. The kings of the world will weep from afar because they fear the beast and the 10 kings. Before God destroys the great city, God will call his people out of the great city. By leaving, they will not participate in her spiritual unfaithfulness and will not suffer with her. When God destroys Babylon the Great, heaven and God's people will rejoice over the fall of the city. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. You can check out my other videos on Revelation in the link provided. Share this link with your friends. Subscribe to this channel. Leave your comments below. Thank you for watching.